Now, from CBS News Miami, this is Facing South Florida with Jim DeFede.
Welcome to Facing South Florida. I'm Jim DeFede. This morning, we come on the air with some good news for a change. The Miami-Dade County Commission voted unanimously this week to move forward with opening the Miami Center for Mental Health and Recovery.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Show the item officially passed. Congratulations.
The man being congratulated is retired Judge Steve Leifman, who has worked for the past 2 decades to make this center a reality. After the vote, Mayor Danielle Levine-Cava and Judge Leifman spoke to reporters.
This man never gave up. He never lost hope. There were definitely times when we weren't quite sure how we were going to get this across the finish line, but his total dedication, his passion, his knowledge and experience, and he's like the Pied Piper.
You know, mental illness, and it was talked about before, and the mayor talked about stigma. This isn't something most people want to talk about. It's easy to ignore. Most of the reform you see in the United States is coming through the judiciary. It's not the executive or legislative branches. And it's really because we're at the front line too. I used to tell people, and it wasn't a joke, that as a judge in the criminal division, I saw more people with serious mental illnesses in a day than most psychiatrists saw in a month. And that says it all. And we were just tired, and are tired around the country, of trying to deal with a problem that we don't have an answer for when we know there's an answer.
At any given moment, 1,000 people with mental illnesses are languishing in the county's jails, not receiving the treatment they desperately need. This center could help many of them trapped in a system where their only real crime is being homeless and mentally ill. Voters approved a bond issue to build the center back in 2004, and after numerous delays, the building was finally completed 2 years ago. Yet it remained empty, helping no one. We'll get into why in a moment, but first, I had a chance to speak to Judge Leifman after the vote. Steve, this has been a long journey.
Huge.
What are your feelings right now?
A little overwhelmed, but appreciative. You know, I wish it didn't take this long. Politics, I guess, are what they are. But I think the most gratifying part is once the community learned about the issue, they stepped up too. And I don't think we would have gotten the response we got today without that happening. And I think, you know, I look forward, I don't look back, and I just appreciate that it got done. And I mostly appreciate the fact that we're going to help the most vulnerable people that need it.
Talk about that. Talk about what this will mean going forward.
People have a tendency to look at this population without understanding. It's kind of like cancer. We have stage 1 through 4. And for the stage 4 individual with serious mental illnesses, there's nothing for them. In the United States, it's not just Miami. And so we have allowed them to just continuously cycle through these horrible acute systems, homelessness, hospitalizations, and jails, again and again and again. We know who they are. It's not that many people. And this building will provide them the level of care that was promised to them when community mental health was supposed to be devised in 1960. It just never materialized. And I think we're going to see a huge, huge result that will result in saving taxpayer money, improving public safety, but most importantly, giving this population an opportunity to have a life of hope and opportunity that they've been deprived of since we shut down all the hospitals.
And we've seen this. So many family members, we all have been touched by this.
Everybody, no one's exempt.
Was there a moment where you didn't think this was going to happen, where all the years, all the effort just was going to be for naught?
I was concerned, but I got to tell you, I never gave up hope, never. And I just deep down have always believed, and maybe it's my personality or how I was raised, if you do the right thing for the right reason, the good people are going to stand with you, and they did. And so I never gave up. I doubt sometimes, but generally, you know, I felt pretty good. And when you came into the picture, it gave me renewed hope, and it didn't change. And so thank you to you, your station, and the legacy of your station that has always been dealing with this issue. So thank you.
So why did it take so long? Look, there were mistakes made by the supporters of the center, including Judge Leifman, who promised the center would pay for itself. Let's be real, nothing is ever free. But there was also a lot of pettiness by critics whose motivations seem to be rooted in the desire to prevent Raquel Regalado, the commissioner sponsoring the legislation to open the center, of victory. For months, a handful of county commissioners, led by Chairman Anthony Rodriguez and fellow Commissioner Danielle Cohen-Higgins, blocked the center from coming up for a vote. Worse, they trafficked in lies and misinformation about the center. And even though funding for the first 3 years of the center was already in place, they kept wondering if a county with a $15 billion budget could really afford to spend perhaps $10 or $12 million 5 years from now to help people with mental illnesses. This is what Rodriguez said during a committee hearing last month.
You know, it's easy to, put your hand on your forehead and go and shake your head. Like, what are these commissioners not understanding? Like, don't they understand we need this? It's how will it be paid for? Like, how are we're going to open this for 2 to 3 years, and then how do we continue it? This is real. I mean, money, despite what people think, money doesn't grow on trees for government.
Of course, this was the same commissioner who a couple of months earlier famously said this when it came to spending nearly $2 million to update design plans for the equestrian center for his beloved rodeo.
But a measly $1.85 million allocation to an architectural agreement that is necessary to comply with what the voters voted for gets a tweet from the fake news Herald.
A measly $1.85 million. Every time I hear it, incredible. But thankfully, other commissioners, most notably Regalado, who championed the issue for years, as well as Commissioners Oliver Gilbert and Keone McGee, Marlene Bastian, and others, made it clear that getting this center open was not only the right thing to do, but it may be one of the most important things they ever do.
We're going to pass hundreds, if not thousands, of pieces of legislation from this dais, but I do honestly believe this is going to be one of those most consequential ones that we'll be able to look back on and identify that moment and that memory that actually gave birth to something that so many people in this community definitely need.
This was not easy when we started working on it, and we've come very far. And I want to thank you all for your support. I know that there were moments that were difficult, but I truly believe that leadership is about creating consensus, not gauging it. So I think that today is a wonderful day.
But the real credit goes to the community. People from all walks of life stepped up and said enough was enough. Miami Archbishop Thomas Wensky spoke out in support of the center. Business leaders, homeless advocates, community activists, local and state politicians all kept the pressure on. One of the groups at the forefront was PACT, People Acting for Community Together. More than 800 people showed up recently at a forum to push for the mental health center and demand the commission act. This was their victory. And after last week's vote, I spoke to one of the leaders from PACT, Rabbi Jessica Jacobs from Temple Beth Shalom.
Why is this important?
Yeah.
What difference is this going to make in the end?
Well, I think that we all know someone with mental health challenges, with substance abuse disorders, right? Whether that's in our families and our communities. And we're talking about the people who are most left out of our community, who are most severely in need. But this is also really very much a Jewish value. So in the Talmud, in our rabbinic text, in the book of Brachot, there's a piece of text of this Rabbi Yochanan, who constantly goes to visit people who are mentally and physically ill, and he reaches out his hand to them and they're always magically healed. But then Rabbi Yochanan himself falls ill, and the Talmud asks, why doesn't he heal himself? And it says, because a prisoner cannot free himself from prison, right? It is up to us to help free those in our community who are imprisoned by mental illness, by substance abuse disorder. It's our job to help them. We cannot expect them to help themselves. And so today I feel like we've really accomplished that.
How challenging was it when you hear so much of the conversation about money?
Yeah.
About, well, we can't do this because can we afford to help these people?
Mm-hmm.
Can we afford to help folks who are less fortunate than ourselves? That was really the last stumbling
100%.
hurdle.
Right. I mean, we heard today over and over again that we've all been in support of this the entire time. Money has always been the challenge. We spend money on so many things that in my mind are less important than this. And it has been a challenge the entire time to be able to push forward and say, like, why aren't we putting money towards the people in our community who are vulnerable when we're putting money towards so many other issues? I mean, that came up over and over and over again. It's certainly been frustrating, and I really commend the judge and I commend our community on pushing forward and saying, like, if we're going to put money towards anything, it's towards this.
It's a matter of priorities. It's setting priorities.
100%. It's a matter of setting priorities.
And here was another local activist from PAC, Taisha Anthony.
So many people just worked together on this, and it wasn't an easy fight because we've been to this chamber many times and disappointed, walked away, not with a vote, walked away with a delay, with, we'll channel it for another day, and to finally have it come to fruition and everyone vote unanimously on it, it means the world. It means the world.
It does show that ordinary people can make a difference.
Absolutely.
When they stand up and speak together.
Absolutely, absolutely. We fought the good fight. We made appointments with each commissioner's office individually. We had Zoom meetings. We had in-person meetings. We tabled with them. We talked to them in sidebar when we were here in chambers. When we saw them out in the community, we sent emails. We made sure that they knew that this was a very important issue, not just for PAC, not for any one person. A lot of people refer to it as the Lifman building, but this is bigger than Judge Lifman. This is about the many, many, many people that suffer from mental health in Miami-Dade County who are now going to get the resources that they need.
And in the end, that's what really matters. As they like to say at PAC, let justice roll. But there was one final twist to this story I wanted to share. Once Anthony Rodriguez realized the measure was going to pass and that there was really no way for him to stop it, he didn't just jump on the bandwagon, he decided to hijack it. In a truly stunning move, he used his power as the chairman to strip Raquel Regalado's name off the legislation and put his own name on as the primary sponsor. And within minutes of the item passing, he issued a press release taking personal credit for the mental health center. I think that's what Rabbi Jacobs might call chutzpah. Up next, I speak to State Senator Shevrin Jones, who is running for Congress. Stay with us. Welcome back. With the retirement of Congresswoman Frederica Wilson, the race for Congressional District 24 is certainly one that will garner a lot of attention. There are 7 Democrats in the race, and whoever wins the primary in August will almost certainly be elected to Congress, since this is the most Democratic district in the state. This week, I interview State Senator Shevrin Jones.
Listen, I have always been a believer that the government works best when it remembers who it's supposed to serve. And I've spent the last 14 years of my career for people who often feel unseen, for people who often feel unheard, and those who've been left behind. I mean, I've worked with many families who just want to try to keep a roof over their head, teachers trying to educate their children without enough resources. That's what I've done while I've been in office. And I've been one of the people who have seen what it looks like when government works for people and not work against people. But I also realized that a lot of what we were fighting in Tallahassee it doesn't just start in Tallahassee. It starts in Washington, D.C. We see the dysfunction in what has happened in Washington, D.C. over the years. And not only is it dysfunction, it's not working on behalf of the individuals who can't pay their rent. It's not working on behalf of the individuals who can't purchase their food or even fill up their gas. Yes, affordability is the main issue that people are asking for. But we can't deal with any of those issues if we continue to fight in a dysfunctional Congress. So we have to put individuals in Congress who know what it means to work across the aisles, who know what it means, who's worked on policy to ensure that you bring better life to families. I know what that means. I've done it for 14 years in the legislature. I passed real policy before to make that happen.
Yeah, let me jump in here for a second and just sort of say, I interviewed Oliver Gilbert last week, and one of the things he pointed out is that he thinks he's better suited, having served as a mayor and as a county commissioner, where he had direct involvement, helping constituents, helping people, actually accomplishing things. And while he didn't name you personally, he did suggest that there are politicians, some who serve in Tallahassee, who really don't have that hands-on approach that you do when you're a mayor or a county commissioner. How do you respond to that?
First, I want to start off by saying that I respect every person who's in this race. I think every person in this race have contributed to some type of capacity within the state, within this county, and also within this district. I want to start there. But the second thing I'll make it clear is that I am the only person in this race who has worked in a super majority chamber in both the House and the Senate and still delivered results. I am the only candidate in this race that brought forth legislation that people would not even believe could be filed or even heard in the legislature, and it now become the law of the land. Things like dignity for incarcerated women, ensuring women in our prison system have access to free feminine hygiene products. Things like dignity for incarcerated pregnant women, to ensure that women who are pregnant cannot be shackled or put in solitary confinement. These are the type of bills that people can see, people can feel because it reaches their households. I'm the one who's sitting inside this position right now, who is qualified to go to Congress, not just to be a extra vote, but to be someone who knows what it means to put policy in place and work across the aisles to get it done.
You know, I think it was widely believed that if Frederica Wilson did in fact retire, that you would get in the race, that Oliver Gilbert would get in the race, and even some of the other candidates who jumped in would probably get in. I'll be honest, I was surprised when Kendrick Meek Jr., the grandson of Carrie Meek and the son of Kendrick Meek, another former congressman, when basically Kendrick Meek Jr. jumped into the race. I think that caught a number of people by surprise.
Well, first of all, this is a democracy, and so I think anybody who has the desire to want to serve, who want to run, they should absolutely do it. No one should deter anybody from running for any office. These seats do not belong to us. These seats belong to the people. So Kendrick Meek Jr. he has that right to do that. The second thing I'll make clear is that that Carrie Meek and the Meek family, they are staples within this community. I will not and I cannot take that away from them because they have contributed so much. But let me be clear that Congress is not the place we go for on-the-job training. There are people right now who are looking for leadership who can go in there on day one to do the job. There are people who are suffering right now who are looking for someone who can go in there on day one to do the job. And so I think as we go through this process and go through this race, people have to understand this is not individuals running for SGA president in high school. This is somebody who's running to be a spokesperson, a representative, and a collaborator for what we know the needs of the people, not just within this district, but across this country.
Do you believe that there may be some voter confusion? Do you think that he is trading on his name if he doesn't have the experience in order to serve or to run?
I mean, listen, yeah, the Meek name carries weight within this district because of what has been contributed here. Listen, yeah, when I ran for office the first time, people said that I was riding on my father's coattail. And I used to always say, well, it's a good coattail good coattail to rag on. My first election that I ran, I didn't win it, but I learned a lot while I was doing it. And listen, I mean, this is a process that everyone should have the opportunity to run. I think Kendrick Meek Jr., he will have to make the case to the people of why he is the best candidate to run, just like I'm going to have to, and just like every other candidate is going to have to.
You know, one of the things that's interesting is we now have two African American candidates who are both gay in this race. I don't know how many openly gay African American members of Congress there have been or even currently serving, but what does that do from a campaign standpoint in terms of both how you and Kendrick Meek have to now try to raise money, often tapping into some of the same donors nationally in terms of the gay community, but also vying for those same votes and trying to make that case to people?
Jim, I'll be honest with you. I don't believe that the people of this district are voting or looking to vote for individual because of who they love. I think that you look at what just happened when I in my last two races and how we won those races. It wasn't because that I was a part of the LGBTQ plus community. It was because of what I've been able to deliver for people. I've never led with that, but I have led with is what the results that I can bring to this community. What I have led with is what we have done for people. And I think Kendrick is going to have to make that he's going to have to make the case also. But what I will say is that yeah, we will fight, and I will continue to fight for each and every person. I was just talking to someone not too long ago, and they asked me about the fight that we've done over these last 14 years in the legislature. And here's my view on it. Yeah, I will fight for anybody fight against anyone who interrupts the human experience for any human being, LGBTQ or not. And as it pertains to myself, I will continue to say that the people elected me for these last few years because of what I can deliver.
Let's talk about some of the economic issues that you referred to earlier. What do you think you can do? What do you think Congress should be doing that they're not currently doing to address some of those concerns, whether it's on everyday cost of living or it's on insurance? What would you advocate for if you were in Congress?
Well, listen, I think the affordability conversation is a large conversation that is happening, but specifically, it is truly the cost of grocery. It is truly the cost of gas that people are putting in their cars. I mean, we're looking right now within this country, the amount of money, unnecessary money that is being spent by this president, and how he is milking this country in the manner that he is, while there are individuals who cannot afford to put gas in their car, who cannot afford to buy groceries for their families. The list continues to go on. Who cannot go to get their prescription drugs, but yet and still we have millions of dollars to give to President Trump's friends, deals that go non-compete. The list continues to go on, and the grifts just keep grifting. Right now, we see the number one issue that's in this country is affordability. Affordability. People are working harder than ever. The housing costs that we're dealing with in Florida and across this country, the insurance costs that we're dealing with in this country. I mean, Congress has to do more than talk about the economy. We have to make the economy begin to work for the everyday people. Part of this, and I'll be frank, one part of this is why I want to be one of my first pieces of legislation that I filed is called the Cliff Act. The Cliff Act, if someone gets a raise, they should not be penalized or lose more in benefits than they gain in income. We should be helping people climb into the middle class, not trapping them in poverty. I mean, that's not a Democrat issue. That's not a Republican issue. That's an issue for Americans. If we are truly working on behalf of the American people, then work on behalf of the American people. Don't work against them.
I want to ask about, we've seen now this memorandum of understanding to try to extend the ceasefire on the war with Iran. It seems to give Iran a lot just to reopen the strait. Did the United States lose this war with Iran?
I think that the president was a bad negotiator on this. I also would make it extremely, extremely clear that America going into wars with a blank check is not how we should be sitting with American values. There should be accountability. There should be benchmarks. But the president of the United States should not be the one to unilaterally make these decisions about war without consulting Congress. We are here because the president of the United States believes that he is a one-man show and he can do this all by himself. Well, all in all, right now, the president is on the center stage and we are the laughing stock of the world.
We'll be right back. Well, that's all the time we have today. If you have any thoughts or comments, feel free to contact me at jdefede@cbs.com. Oh, how I do enjoy hearing from you. Thanks again for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.